Chapter 10. Okay, Kacchan. POV, Katsuki. I think I want to be a hero, Izuku said suddenly in the middle of their daily stroll. It made Katsuki stumble a little, but he quickly tried to cover it by turning his head towards the nerd. Okay, he said carefully. It's not like the nerd couldn't do anything he put his mind to. Surely it was unusual to be a hero as a quirkless person, but who was he to tell anyone that they couldn't be a hero? He personally believed that Izuku would be an amazing hero no matter what other people might think. Oh shit, I didn't mean to say that out loud. I mean, I do want to be a hero, but I'm quirkless, so it's kind of a stupid idea. It's just that when we helped that girl, it felt so good, like I was needed, or I was good at anything. Not useless, like my father always used to tell me. Izuku said the last part so quiet that Katsuki didn't know if he meant that to be heard. It's not like I did much, really, but Kacchan, there's so many people who need help, and there aren't enough heroes. Not the ones who really care without getting money or fame, Izuku explains as he was picking his fingers. It made Katsuki want to blow up on him, but he knew that Izuku wasn't finished, so he waited. Or maybe the correct term would be vigilante? I mean, I don't have a quirk, so technically I wouldn't be one. There are many bad areas that we walk through daily where there isn't a hero in sight, where people get hurt or mugged and nobody gives a damn. But I could do anything. I mean, I've learned from a lot from your teaching, so maybe I guess I'm rambling again. Sorry, stupid idea. I'll stop now. Izuku stops his mumbling. There was an awkward silence after that. Let's do it, Katsuki says, turning to look at Izuku, whose eyes go wide. Really? You want to be one too? Just like that? Izuku squeaks. I don't say shit that I don't mean, and it's not like we have anything better to do. And someone's gotta watch your back, otherwise you'll get killed while tripping on your own 2 feet or something. Equally stupid. But before you get excited, I have conditions, Katsuki says and stops walking. Izuku narrows his eyes and stops beside him. Okay. 1. We don't do shit before you can really defend yourself. 2. We're not getting involved in the big things that we can't handle because that is surely a way to get killed or get caught, Katsuki says, staring at the smaller boy in the eyes. He knows the nerd wouldn't have backed down no matter what he said, so at least this way he can keep an eye on him. And even if he wouldn't say it out loud, it sounds kind of fun. But if they're gonna do this, it's gonna be done his way and his way only. 3. We're gonna ask the old man to teach us some moves too, because anything could happen. 4. We're gonna learn some kind of coded way to talk, so if we get caught, we can easily get away without anyone noticing. 5. If I tell you to leave it and run, you will do it without whining about it. You're not thinking clearly, so I will. And 6. We have to come up with code names. I'm sure as fuck I'm not gonna be known for the name Kacchan if someone recognizes us. And the most important one, so listen up, dickhead, Katsuki continues after poking Izuku in the forehead. Yeah, Kacchan, knock it off, I'm listening, Izuku says, swatting his hand away, making Katsuki smirk. But then he remembers what he was gonna say, and he puts up his angry scowl. We never, ever, ever do any shit alone. I don't want to find you dead in some shady alley because you couldn't control your self-sacrificing ass. Now, there might be more rules in the future, but these are the ones that I'm not gonna let be broken or bended in any kind of way. So, still want to do it? Katsuki asks. He can see the wheels turning in Izuku's head, and his mouth moves into quick mumble to be understood. He doesn't think that the nerd is talking to him right now, so he waits patiently. After a couple minutes, the nerd goes quiet, straightens his shoulders, and looks him in the eyes. Okay, Kacchan, we do it your way. Katsuki nods and continues walking ahead. They keep going on their daily duties like any other day. It comes back up later that evening. The old man says he'll teach us, but we can't, and I quote, be little bitches about his way of teaching, and we can go fuck ourselves if we are late for his class. Katsuki says, shoving food in his mouth. Izuku nearly chokes on his food while starting to giggle. After he composes himself, he falls on his back on their blankets. When did you talk to the old man? I was with you the whole time, Izuku whines. When you were in the bathroom. It wasn't a long talk. I just thought that you would start to ramble useless shit that would make me and the old man compete on which one of us would bang their head faster on the wall or on the nearest table. Katsuki answers and smirks when Izuku throws a pillow at his head. He quickly grabs it and throws it back before Izuku could take cover. Ha ha, very funny, asshole. So when do we start? Izuku asks. Tomorrow. And I also made a promise that when we have learned enough, we can help around to fix stuff and demonstrate moves in classes or some shit like that. It's not like we have money to pay for classes, so I think it's a fair deal. Are you okay with that? Katsuki asks. He would do it with or without Izuku. He hates being in debt for someone. And to that man he owes more than he can ever repay. Not that the old man would expect him to pay anything, but Katsuki knows there's nothing free in this world. Or at least there shouldn't be, because the old man has never let him pay or help for anything. They have had many good fights about it for a while before Katsuki started to accept his help. And now, the stubborn fuck is finally letting him do something for him to pay back all the help he has got over the years. There is not a thing in this world that would stop him. That is great, actually. I wouldn't feel right to just go to his classes without giving anything in return, Izuku says. Katsuki nods and lays down next to Izuku. Promise me that you won't do anything to get yourself killed, Katsuki whispers. Izuku turns his head to look at Katsuki, who is looking everywhere except the green-haired boy. I promise, Kacchan, I'm not going anywhere, Izuku says, taking his hand in his. They don't say anything else before they drift to sleep, still holding hands. Chapter 11. Summary. It's Katsuki's birthday. He forgot. Izuku didn't. Also, we're going to be talking about vigilante names, so yay! Chapter 11. POV. Katsuki. Over half a year has already passed since he found Izuku crying in the park. It feels like a lifetime ago, and he couldn't imagine what life would be like without the nerd, and he wouldn't even want to. He didn't even realize how truly lonely he was before. It had been so normal for so long. But then the nerd came crashing into his life, and it felt like it was a little easier to breathe. Maybe it was the fact that he didn't have to be so alert all the time, because there was finally someone who would watch his back in return. Whatever it is, Katsuki wouldn't change a thing. The spring had come fast. They moved back into their favorite hiding place, the car in the trash tower, a few weeks ago after almost getting caught in the cave by a couple of teenagers. It wouldn't matter if someone saw them walking around, but there would be more talk about a few kids living in a cave. There might be police or a hero involved, and they really liked their freedom. They've been in self-defense classes for a few months, and Izuku was getting better at it. Not let's go fuck things up ready, but better nonetheless. Honestly, Katsuki assumed that it would take longer for the nerd to learn, but like always, he was full of surprises. The old man had kept his promise and let them help around the gym. A few times, he even heard the man talk to himself about making them teach the class after they've learned enough, which made Katsuki eager to learn faster. No one has ever trusted him with anything so important. The trust that the old man had in them really had made Katsuki respect the man even more than he already did. Besides barking orders in classes, they still didn't talk a lot with the man. The man would still leave them food at the door. Katsuki had noticed that the few times the man had looked at him like he was going to say something to him, but then he just shrugged to himself and left. Weird, but none of his business, so he tried not to think too much about it. Katsuki was in the middle of cleaning the boxing ring when suddenly Izuku appeared behind him. Kacchan, are you ready to go home yet? The green-haired boy was bouncing around him. You can see I'm not. And I haven't even had time to shower yet. Besides, it's not like we have someone waiting, so why the rush? Katsuki asks. Suddenly, the greenette found the stairs in the ceiling very appealing to look at. Katsuki narrowed his eyes. The fucker was up to something. He didn't know what, but he sure as fuck was gonna find out. No reason. I'm just ready to go, the nerd says. Well, since you have so much energy, then you have the time to sweep the dust off when I go shower, Katsuki says as he turns around and throws the rag at the boy. But Kacchan, Izuku whines. Katsuki doesn't turn around to look at him when he lifts his middle finger in the air, making Izuku snort. He sees that nerd starting to do as told. Only if the fucker would listen so good at their regular walks or life in general, then they wouldn't be in so much shit all the time. Look, Kacchan, a cute kitten. And then the fucker is bleeding all around with scratched arms. Katsuki doesn't waste time in the showers. Who knows what ideas the nerd gets when he's left unsupervised for too long. They thank the old man for the food and yell their goodbyes before heading home. They were a few minutes away from the trash beach when Izuku steps in front of him. What, you fucker? You're acting weird, Katsuki says. Izuku has been practically trying not to vibrate out of his skin the whole walk home, and it's really starting to piss Katsuki off. Who has that much energy? I have a surprise for you, Izuku says, jumping and smiling. Okay. That was not what he was expecting. Katsuki narrows his eyes. Why? Katsuki asks. None of your fucking business, why? Now close your eyes like a good boy, Izuku says, and finally stops bouncing around. Katsuki stares at him without blinking. The nerd should know better than to try and order him around. He was getting too cocky for his own liking. Please, Kacchan, Izuku whines. He's nearly pulling his sleeve off Katsuki's sweater. Katsuki yanks his clothes back before the nerd has the opportunity to tear it. He swats Izuku in the back of the head. Knock it off, asshole. Izuku pouts at him. Seriously? He thinks that's gonna work on him? You're such a whiny bitch. Fine, but if you trip over some pile of trash, I'm gonna fucking kill you, Katsuki says and sighs as he closes his eyes. He's seriously getting soft. Izuku leads him over for a few minutes and then he lets go of his hands. Katsuki wants to open his eyes, feeling too vulnerable to have them closed, but he doesn't want Izuku to complain to him the whole night when he's already tired. Okay, now you can open. He can hear Izuku yell somewhere far away. He's standing in the entrance of the trash beach. How is this surprise? He mumbles until he notices something at his feet. Nerf gun and a note. Hi, Kacchan. I don't know if you remember, but today is your birthday. We have no money for anything expensive, so I figured we could do something else instead. So we're gonna play a game. Fun, right? I stole these from some rich neighborhood, but that's not important. You have one, and I have one. I split the ammos between us so we both got the same amount. I'm hiding somewhere in this trash beach. The one who gets the most hits before the ammo runs out wins. I've planned this for weeks and scouted this place. You'll never catch me. Zuku. Katsuki laughs. It's true that he did not in fact remember his birthday. But does this fucker seriously think he can win this? He picks up his gun. He starts to run quietly over the last place he heard the nerd yell for him. He's now tracking any movement and trying to hear even the smallest sound hinting the nerd's whereabouts. After circling around and not finding any sign of the nerd, he decides to speak. I thought you were the smart one, you know? I've lived here far longer than you. I've mapped this bitch down a long time ago, Katsuki yells. There is only silence. Maybe the nerd isn't as stupid as he thinks he is. Suddenly, there is a voice over him. He turns to look up just as the green mop of hair is leaning over a pile of trash. Give me some credit, asshole, Izuku yells. He feels two sharp hits in his chest before the nerd laughs, trying to run away. Motherfucker. Katsuki runs after him, hitting him 3 times, once in the back of his leg, once in his shoulder, and once directly in the back of his head, making him laugh and take cover before the nerd could retaliate. The nerd curses and turns behind the corner of a huge trash pile. I'm not gonna go easy on you. You've done nothing to earn the respect yet. Katsuki yells and peeks out of his hiding place. He feels a sharp hit on his back and turns around just before the green hair disappears behind one of the trash towers. How did the fucker get there so fast and so fucking quiet? Normally you can hear his mumbling from a mile away. Katsuki tisks and runs after him. They go around circling over each other, yelling insults and goofing around until after the last ammo has been shot. They collapse near each other laughing. Okay, fine, you win, Kacchan, Izuku says, still panting hard. He's smiling, and Katsuki thinks that this is the first time he's ever seen the nerd act so carefree. Yeah, and don't you forget it, Katsuki says. This was so much fun. He feels like a child probably for the first time in his life. And it's really weird, but a good feeling. So, you liked your gift? Izuku asks. Katsuki smiles at him. The best birthday gift ever. He didn't think it was possible for the nerd to look happier, but somehow he still does. He looks at Katsuki like he had just said that they're gonna meet all night. I have one more, but maybe we could eat first? Izuku says, rising to his feet. Maybe that's good because, like in a mark, Katsuki's stomach decides to do some dying whale sounds, making his hunger obvious. They both laugh at that as Izuku offers his hand to Katsuki, who takes it without complaint. They climb over to the car, where Izuku somehow had time to bring their dinner before starting their previous game. They eat and talk about the game and new possible hiding places they found in the middle of it all. They definitely need to hide some of their stuff around so they can have more room in the car. As they finish their food, Izuku leans over his bag to grab something and hands it over to Katsuki. Katsuki takes it, turning it around in his hands. It's black fabric, a hoodie, with an orange X on it. I know we haven't had to talk about our vigilante names yet, but I had an idea, Izuku says and shows a black hoodie of his own, except his had a green O on it. Katsuki laughs. XO. Izuku laughs in return. Yeah, I mean, could you imagine if we catch some villain and police finds them with a note that says XOXO? The thought of it makes Katsuki smile. It would be fucking hilarious. And the clothes are easy to make, so if something gets ripped, I mean, it's just paint, and if you don't like it, we can figure something else out. Izuku starts, but before he can get to a full mumble storm, Katsuki puts his hand over his mouth. It's fucking perfect. Thanks, nerd. Katsuki says, and takes his hand off the green-haired boy's mouth. Izuku smiles to him. Happy birthday, Kacchan. The best birthday ever. Alright, that is the end of chapter 11. That was both chapters 10 and 11. I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, please comment, like, subscribe, whatever you want. And if you liked this story so far, please go and give kudos or comment on the author's story or account. They really like it. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye.